Burton, Burlington, Vermont.
Yes.
It's a good place to be.
Hey man, this is one of the coolest places if you're a snowboarder to be, the home of Burton's global headquarters. I mean, I'm thankful every day coming into this place, that's for sure.
All right, so to get us started, I'd love to hear about your first day on the snow.
First day on the snow, wow. So snowboarding, I did it off the side of Highway 80 a couple times. A friend I met in high school as a freshman, Chad Sylvia, he turned me on to the snurfer, so we went off Highway 80, just did a couple little runs off the side of the road. My first day actually snowboarding at a resort was in 1985 at Boreal Resort.
Okay.
And I rented a board. It was a big board. He actually had made a homemade snowboard in wood shop.
That's the part that just kills me.
He had actually, made a homemade board in wood shop, which was much smaller.
Yeah.
And it was, I think he used the Burton Elite as kind of a template.
Yep.
So I began trying to teach myself. Of course, I didn't take a lesson, which was a big mistake, but I quickly noticed that he was already better than me, but we both thought, you know what, maybe we should trade boards because the smaller board might be easier to ride. So we did that,
yeah, really.
and I ended up having more success on this homemade snowboard, and that day changed my life 100%.
How did you end up in the industry? How did you get to Industrial Park Way?
How I ended up here was Burton was starting a Learn to Ride initiative, and I already had a huge clientele coming out of Southern California that would come to Park City who already surfed and skateboarded. And at the time, we didn't have small enough gear that was soft enough to teach them appropriately. So I would make the best of it. We were using balance boards and trampolines and then giving them some kind of an on-snow experience. Okay. But I again began to reach out to Burton to say, hey guys, we could really use some smaller, softer gear. Would love to be a part of your Learn to Ride program. So this was in '97. And they said, you know what? Why don't we work together? And I said, aren't you guys starting a Learn to Ride program out east? How about we do one out west? So in '98, started working with them in '97. '98, we opened the first West Coast Learn to Ride Center at Park City.
20 years ago.
Yeah, 20 years ago. And then things started to steamroll from there because at the time we were using their step-in product, and I was working with their rental, teaching kids, modifying gear, giving feedback, and it went really well. And so they decided to assign me on a project in Japan for little kids. Mm-hmm. And a Japanese resort who didn't have any experience teaching young kids to snowboard. I went out there, set up a program, it went extremely well. And then in 2000, they moved me out here, took the job in April, and then I moved my family in August and have been here ever since.
So your position, VP Global Resorts, how did that come about? Had that been a position before you came on board?
No, when I first was hired by Burton, I got hired as the Learn to Ride and rental manager. And that was in 2000, and worked my way up to a director level and then worked my way up to a vice president level. But in this position, vice president of Global Resorts, resorts are a focus, but there's really three pillars that I focus on. One is protecting the sport, making sure that we invite, engage, and are maintaining riders. Mm-hmm. And the second pillar would be premium distribution, so focusing on our premium resorts and those premium snowboard retailers that are really striving to provide that amazing snowboarding experience, whether it's on the mountain or whether it's through selling retail.
Okay.
And the third pillar is our Resort 360. So when you take a look at the 360 that we have in place, it starts with rental, we then have demo, test ride, try before you buy, demo, riglet snowboarding, which is for the really young kids being introduced to the sport, Learn to Ride, which was started in 1998, as we talked about. Then we move into some of our programs with what we would consider on-mountain activations like the Burton Progression Park, the Stash, and then we have our resort retail. And so really connecting those 360 components with any resort I work with, whether it's like a little tiny Cochrane's resort up the road,
Yeah.
or whether it be Avoriaz Resort in France. There's always a way where we can enhance the snowboarding experience, and there's always a way that we can work with the resort to create these amazing runs and features and experiences. So as a snowboarder, you're always striving to go to a new resort or hit a new park, or whoa, what's that new run Burton helped design, you know, at Remarkables in New Zealand, or Jackson Hole, you know, in Wyoming. It's really cool, because I think, like I mentioned, no matter what resort, there's always a way through the holistic offering that Burton provides. There's always a way to enhance it.
Right. There's obviously such a symbiotic relationship here that I don't know if is often enough realized and expressed and worked upon. And it seems that Burton, you know, especially given your position, you're living, breathing proof of the commitment that Burton has toward this relationship with the resorts. Are there other manufacturers that have similar? Is this a common position in other manufacturers? Do you know?
Not that I know of, but you mentioned, you know, Jake and Donna's commitment. Ever since I started here, they were so passionate about teaching people how to snowboard, and they do it every year. They still do it. And, you know, I was fortunate enough to be taken under their wing to learn how they teach people to snowboard. So for me, I was able to take my American Association of Snowboard Instructor teaching background and weave it with what Jake and Donna have been doing for many years. And it's been really fun to be able to learn from them, get inspired by them. And anytime we need something on my team to help protect the sport or innovate at a resort or do these things that really is super creative that will give those snowboarders a reason to get back, they're always there and they always provide it. And I think resorts, I mean, they're pretty much our playground. So it's always been a vital part of what we do, and that collaboration is really important to us. And that riglet reel now allows us to go into a school and run a physical education snowboarding program with kindergarten through second graders. It allows us to go into a mall and set up to give kids a first introduction. We can go to a stadium, we can go wherever we want, give kids and families this first introduction to snowboarding, and then invite them up to a resort. And the resorts, the smart ones we've worked with, have really used it as a way to build a future pipeline.